Hassan Bugnard started his career as a teacher, social worker, and school director in Switzerland. This podcast episode is therefore about education. What is interesting in Hassan's story is how he shifted the axis of his work abroad, following his wife's career, first by starting a consultancy practice in educational systems in Burkina Faso, and then joining Swiss Contact in Lebanon, where he presently lives. Hassan, you have a very interesting career that started in Switzerland and then took you to different countries. Can you tell me how you started your career?
Yes, I can shortly do it. Thank you for inviting me for your podcast, really, Laura.
Pleasure.
So the things was like this. I was working in Switzerland with kind of determination. I was a first teacher, social worker, and then I moved to the school management. So for me, the formation, the education was really something very important because I had always in mind that with kind of a great background, you can have bridge to great perspectives. So that's why I was really working hard for that. And I always have in mind that in Switzerland, we have a good frame because if you have good skills and a good background, you can find a job. And
Mm.
something was just perturbing a bit this little reality. It was when once my wife come to me and say, okay, Hassan, you do a lot for gender in your management work. But if I ask you if you can follow me, because in my work I have to go abroad, what
Mm.
can be your decision? And this day, this special day, was really changing a lot of, how can I say that, rules, axes of my daily work. And I decided to follow my wife for different reasons. First of all, because, when you love someone, you want to go with. And second, because I see that it could be really another way to do things. When you manage, you are always the one who decides in your frame, and then it's just opening something or in a new reality. But I was not so aware that it will change all my way to do or to deliver what I love to do.
Mm.
It was just for me a real new challenge when you have to search in your own skills how to reinvent, to be creative around your own profile. So I don't know if it was clear enough for you, but for me it was the greatest change.
So, going back to Switzerland, what did you study? What was your education?
So first I was teacher. I have two different diploma, one for the primary school and the second one for the secondary school. Then I decided to learn a bit more about mediation, so I do a diploma as well. And based on this diploma, where I was really teaching with a great pleasure, it was really a great work for me because here you can really be helpful for your students, and you can really follow there. You can really research how to bring the bridge they need. But after a few years, I just think that this frame as the school is really so important that it has to be driven in a way that the school has to connect the youth to something bigger, the economy. And here I decided to move to the management. That's why I studied a bit the management with a certificate of advanced study in management. And based on that, I managed a school. I was in the school management during 8 years,
Hmm.
5 as director. And in this role, I was connected to the regional level first. I mean, we were working on all the education policy with the regional level. And then because I was vice president of an association who worked directly with the government to be always assessing the policy, I was connected to the national level, which was very interesting as well.
And between being a school director and teaching, what did you find was interesting in both worlds?
So first of all, you have to. My first interest was to bring the best bridge ever for my students. That was my first interest because, as you can imagine, you can see that they not all the youth has the same reality. And when you face 26, 28 or the students in front of you, you know that you have to be not just a driver, you have to be a supporter. So this kind of challenge with many roles was very something that I love to do it. And for me, it was very important to search to be this bridge, and it was a real interest. And for me, during this time, I had two different stories who changed the way to do things. The first one was I was teaching sport as well. And
Mm.
I remember that I had a student who was not really fit, but he has so great determination to do things. And I remember that after my evaluation, it was a performance one. I just think, how can I just do? Can I write these results for someone who has a so great determination, undo a so great technical move? It's not possible. And we decided to change all the evaluation just to integrate not just the performance but also the technicality. And it was a great beginning just to think that when you have a job, you have to be creative so you can increase the possibility for the others. And in my teaching time, it was really something who drive me a lot. I just not do this change for evaluation, but also I was always searching how I can increase the possibility for my students to be more involved in their own trajectory. For example, the contact with MSc with the private sector. I
Mm-hmm.
developed a lot of projects to link the schools to the private sector around the school, in the neighborhood of the school, but not just because for me it was very important that the students can realize that what we can face in the school is something very important. You have to know better things, but also the skills you have to develop to be a great competitor at the workplace, but not just competitor, but also in contact with your context, is something that you can really learn during internship or relation with this sector. And I was really highlighting this very hard, and I think that. Yeah, my students for me was very important, and I was very happy that we can do this connection through a public school.
And do you think that you would have been able to become a school director without further diplomas?
I think this is not just because you have a diploma that you want to become a school director, because this is much more because you want to work on the frame who allow the others teaching better or allow the others opening better bridge. This is not a question of diploma, this is a question of determination. And if you don't have this determination, this is just a position. This is perhaps not something we will open for a door for the others. I think what really bring me at this position was not the diploma, but much more the determination to open doors for the others, and not just opening doors like naive people, but really searching the right way and positioning people so they can manage. And it was more this willingness who
Mm.
pushed me here. And this is why when people do not have a lot of diplomas, they don't have in Switzerland, just to think that this is the most important. The most important is the beginning with a job, on in this job doing the best so they can increase something, and then people can perhaps observe this.
Okay. And how long did it take you to become teacher at the beginning of your career? You did your university, and then what? How long did it take until your first job?
So first of all, at this time, to be primary teacher, you don't have to go through the university. You can do something with école normale first, and then I do university because I just would like to have the second diploma to be a secondary teacher. This is where I go to the university, and based on these two initial training, I moved to something different, which is a continuing training and this continuing education. And this is where I think that people can move also. You can work, and during your work, you can extend your possibility with continuing education. I'm not the one who want to push too much for academic, way, because I think that it's very important that first of all you work, and then based on that you can develop all the skills.
So it's like a hands-on job. That's better with direct contact with what you do in order to improve your skills.
Yeah, but not just for me. I don't think there is just one trajectory. If you observe a bit the Swiss education system, you can understand that there is many different possibility. You just begin in one sense. It could be through college or through different dual career possibilities, and based on that, you can always move with bridge to different level. I think this is not there is not just one travel, but what is
Hmm.
very important is that the people, that the youth or the student can begin with something that they are on a way that can be as open as possible. This is the most important thing. But yeah, it was really my first part of life, 11 years for sure, but I think that the change come really after.
So the change you said came because of your wife, basically, right?
Yeah, because I was very happy as with my position of director, and I could
Director, yeah.
really, yeah, I could really manage changing many things and having an impact. It was a great position. But the fact to move to Burkina just opened all the door. And here it was very important to assess and understand first how the system is working. And here you have to assess very well because this is quite sensitive to just come and having the feeling that you know. You need to learn from the others. You need to read the system, and you have to understand how the things can could happen. And based on that, really, I was assessing during many years, and
Hmm.
then I could be. It was possible to open an office in Mali, which is not so stable as well, and
Hmm.
here we develop solution to for the decentralization of resources from government to cities. And it was one side. On the other side, I opened another office in Switzerland to work on the education quality, and I could work with many corporation, the German corporation, the Swiss corporation, but also with UNESCO. And it really let me really see all the system, other possibility where we can assess a great quality, but also challenges. And it was very interesting to be here as consultant advisor, but also as someone who can be really helpful to understand, yeah, another reality. So it was really a great intense work.
So that was still in the domain of education.
So right now, you say?
No, when you were in Burkina Faso.
It was assessing system because this is not teaching. It was much more assessing the system, understand
Okay.
where are the gaps. For example, why we can have these bad or good results with the assessment we do at the end of several cycle of education. What are the results from a multilingual classroom or many things like this, or but I
Hmm.
work as well on the budgetization of for youth and female with 25 ministry department. So this is not just education; this is formation as well. So it was quite an open job.
Okay. And today I see that you're a country director of Swiss Contact from 2020. So this is, can you tell me about that? How did that happen?
So, because of the consultancy, I met people in this international cooperation. But Swiss Contact is for me a really specific and really dream work. I work now with an amazing team with people really skilled, and we try to assess and to find how we can create job abroad. That means that we are in Lebanon and we search how we can in this economy, finding how to insert people, but also how we can create a job at different level or sector of the economy.
So it's about job creation in the country, in Lebanon.
Yeah, it's about job creation, but also working on the value chain, working on how to support the agri production development, how to connect people together so we can create a great ecosystem where the thing can run. Because as you see, Lebanon face different crises, 5 different crises, And in that sense, this is really to give as much as possible the access to SMEs of new markets so they can always conserve the job, but insert people as well.
And did you choose Lebanon or did Lebanon choose you?
Well, it depends the time. At the beginning, I really choose Lebanon, but I have to say that after a few months here in Lebanon, really, I can say that Lebanon choose me as well. And when Lebanon choose you, this is not always, with the simple way. When I come here, just a few weeks later, we faced the Beirut blast, and this explosion was felt 200 kilometers far away, and the flat of the family is at 1 kilometer. That's two, and the two kids were in the flat. And this day, it was just for me, not the first time, perhaps the third time in my life where I just see that, okay, the things you can plan what you want, but such thing you cannot plan. And when
Hmm.
it's happened so strong that it really changed the way of thinking, and really based on these experiences, the experience, I really research to be as much as possible part of the change. And when you say if Lebanon joined me, I can say that really from this day I just decided to be with the what I can do, part of a good change for people here, because I was lucky. My two kids was miraculously alive, and we can continue our life as with all the member of the family. But it was not the case of many people in the neighborhood. So this luck is something that we decided to share, and that's why I can tell Lebanon joined me, and not
Hmm.
always with the simple way.
Right, right. So you're still in Lebanon right now.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
So you came from being a consultant and having your own consultancy company in Burkina,
yes,
if I understand correctly, and then you switched to Swiss Contact. And in the meantime, the whole family moved to Lebanon.
exactly.
Okay. And this time, was it because of you? So, like trying to understand how the dynamic of the family worked, because it's very interesting, to keep the family together. At one point in life, one has to do the effort, and the other point of life another has to do the effort. So how was the this final chapter for you?
So here it's a bit complex, but I have to say that okay, we are the whole family in Lebanon. We really live together, and to say, but it was not always the case. I mean, when in March 2020, I had to begin the job here in Lebanon. I had to travel the 15th and the 13th. I just give the key of the flat that where we live in Fribourg, and 2 days after, the all the aviation canceled and all the flights.
Hmm.
Exactly in the same period of time, my wife organized the move from Burkina to Lebanon and was stopped with our little baby in Burkina Faso, because everything was stopped. And
Hmm.
my first kid was to my parents because of COVID's reason. We cannot just be all together. So during this special time, we were really splitted in many different parts of the world. And I was homeless in Switzerland because all the hotels and the possibility to rent was just closed because people were just afraid about to rent you something. So
Hmm.
it was a special time where we were really splitted. And here we decided to move always all together, because facing a bad situation when you are splitted, this is difficult. But when you are together, yeah, at least you can be just stronger because we are together. And this is the way we are doing things. And
Okay.
that's why I can tell you, yeah, we are together now. And this is something that we want to keep as much as possible.
That's great. That's great that you manage, because it can be challenging at times, and so it's working out, and definitely thanks to all your efforts and your wife's efforts. So, can you tell me a bit about Swiss Contact, a bit more about Swiss Contact, your present job?
So about my job or about the organization, because this
About
is,
the organization and then
yeah.
your job.
So this is a great, when I say great organization, because when you move from your own consultancy to this organization, you feel really how strong you can have an impact when more people are involved around you to search and find the solution. And Swiss Contact is really a great organization for the technical development. We have a lot of vet program. I mean, we are working on how to skill people so they can be engaged, they can join the market, they can have income generation. But not just, we work also on to help the producer to have a better income generation on working with the value chain. We work on economic development. I mean, we can work on developing the tourism activities in a country. So Swiss Contact has 8 different specific area.
Mm-hmm.
And here in Lebanon, we are an office. We work in the humanitarian development nexus. Swiss Contact is mainly a development organization, but we decide to come in Lebanon and in this Syrian crisis region to work on the humanitarian development nexus, because we think it's always important to have both approach. One, the humanitarian. To help the people in the right time when it's really
Mm-hmm.
crucial
During
to do it.
emergencies. Mm.
But then there is a time where the long term solution has to be developed as well, so they can stabilize the solution who help the marginalized people, but not just. So this is where we are right now in Lebanon.
Okay. And if you look back at your years in the education and being a teacher and then a school director, do you find those skills or a set of those skills that have been useful for your present job?
I think this is something that you cannot always have in a specific time or travel or diploma. My first, I think, milestones was my relation with my grandfather, who was an entrepreneur and who push always that in the family we work on quality standards, push on us to be people who work always with determination in what we do. And I think that this determination to work hard in what we do, I think this is something that we can learn, but this is something that we have to feel and we have to really just do. And this is the first thing. And second, I think that all the preparation, the anticipation, the things where you think that you have to face people with great and clear way to do things. I think this is something who can be helpful, not just for a teacher, but also for people who has to work with others or prepare or follow a project. I think this is something that we can see everywhere. And for the management, when I was at the school management, I had 87 people. I think it helps you to be just humble and to see that really you have to be skilled to understand the people around you, to can extract the best of every workers. And this is exactly the same today. So I can extract a lot of can I say skills, but not
Mm.
just skills, also thing that I just have in my own determination, and I'm certain that many people has that. But just to be confident that you can do something great with others is something very important. Because if you don't trust about the others, you cannot do this job. That's clear. Yeah, you will less effective and less efficient. To be very clear.
And what would you advise to someone, the young generation of today that want to take on a job profile that you have, the same that you have, be it at school or be it as a country director, pick one of the your expertise.
First of all, I will say, they just have to trust to start the first step, the first job. Because I'm certain that you, Laura, and me as well, when we had just 16 years old, we were not able to understand what we do today. Because I'm certain
Hmm.
that what you do today was not prepared when you was
Yeah.
16. That's very
For sure.
clear. But this is exactly what we expect from these people. And here we just have to say, do your first experiences, and based on that, you will move on something that we already know, that the job that exists today will really change the next years. So this is very crucial, to always be able to adapt, to integrate new things, to be a bit to work with curiosity, but also with kind of exigence. This is something very crucial and important, because if you don't have this, you keep the same level of thinking. And I think that's what we have to say to these youth is, just be confident, do your best, begin with the first job. This is not the dream job, but based on that, you have to increase your capacity, your level, and then you can join something different. But this is a really learning process, and this is not just something that we can decide at one step. I never had in mind to move from Switzerland to go abroad, and today I'm really happy that I did this choice.
Yeah, excellent. And on that note, we have reached our time. I want to thank you for your time, Hassan, and I wish you all the best
No, thank
for
you.
wherever your career brings you, and hopefully you can stay with your family and continue your fantastic journey that you've done so far.
Thank you a lot. You too, Laura.
The words I take from my interview with Hassan are: with a great background, you can have great perspectives. He also recommends that you start your first job, do your first experience, even if it might not be your dream job. But from there, then you can move on. Another element I take from today is that life will throw tests at you. In Hassan's case, he had to reinvent himself in a new country for the sake of family. And thanks to this flexibility, he has gained a new experience in a job that gave him new richness beyond teaching.